Welcome to Jimbo's Garage.
All right, so I finished up in part 2 painting the frame itself, and I'm just, that's what I'm doing right here. Got that all done, got a couple of good coats on there, and it's ready for the wood installation. All right, so what we're going to be using here is some ultralight MDF. This is 5/8 thick. Chose this because we're looking for some lightweight and some smooth surface right here, and this is some pretty good material for that. I thought that was the best choice. This stuff is really easy to work with. Cuts really nice. There's a lot of dust, but it took 3 sheets to do this. That's 4 feet wide, 6 feet across, and then a 2 foot by 6 foot filler on the inside right there. Of course, it wasn't all 3 sheets. There were some pieces left over, but it took 3 sheets to get it that way. All right, so once I got everything in place, I attached it with these self-tapping countersunk screws. Now, I use these a lot with a lot of the metal to wood, fabricating that I do, tables or benches or whatever it is. This stuff seems to work the best for me. They're about 1.5 inches long, and they just self-tap, and they just countersink right in there, and they hold real well. They look real good, and they serve a pretty good purpose, and that's what I decided to use with this right here. And you can see that, I was trying to decide how many screws I wanted to put in here. I didn't want to put too many. I didn't want it to have to look too much, although it looks like I'm putting a lot in there. But, I have to put in, a screw on either corner all the way around, plus in the seams on both sides of the seams, and, to keep everything nice and tight and secure. Wasn't bad. It worked out, it was the way I was it worked out just the way I hoped it would. Took a little bit of time to get this done, but I was able to get it done, and I was happy with the results. I had a lot of guys, I've noticed in the comments, they were saying that they're train builders or whatever they are, and the table was too wide. The table is 6 feet wide, and that's 3 feet across, and you can see that I'm in the middle right there, and I can reach and do anything I need to do in the middle. That is what the client wanted. This is the dimensions that he wanted. He's a big guy, so I don't think he's going to have any troubles reaching to the center of the table right there. All right, with the table all aside, this is the assembly part for the shaft. We ordered these, online somewhere, and able to get this in. Of course, this is all going to be modified. This is the bracketry now that is going to be assembled for the outer ring that is going to be raising this table up. Now, there's going to be 2 arms on either side that about 6 foot 6 wide. You can see that's what they are right there. Now, this is 1.25 inch square tube. This is 0.63 wall thickness right here. And I wanted to dress them up a little bit. I put some solid caps on both ends, and then just took a flap disc and ground those nice and smooth to give it a good appearance and a good look. All right, so these are the tabs right here. There's going to be some pulleys on either end, and I cut these out on the plasma cutter, and I'm just going to weld these on both sides of both arms, and the pulley is going to be able to go in there, and a cable is going to go around that, and it is going to ultimately wind around a center shaft that is going to be running the full length of the table. You'll see more of that here in just a little bit. And then this is where the cable is going to be extended out over the end of the ring, and then the cables are going to go down through the pulley and attach to the pulley. It's important that it was important to me anyway, that I got everything nice and square. You don't want to get building something and things start to get out of whack and not square, then you definitely have problems down the road. Not that this is going to be an issue. It's just the way I like to do things. But you can see I'm taking my time. I'm trying to get everything square and get everything just right. I want everything to line up the way it's supposed to when it's time for assembly. All right, with all the welding done, again, just took a flap disc and went around and cleaned up all the edges and dressed everything up nice. All right, so this is part of the bracketry that came with the kit that we purchased. Now, of course, we're modifying it, so I have to cut this apart. I am not using that part of it. I'm only using the part that's closest to the camera right there with a little circle in it. So this piece here is useless. And then here is the little part that I'm going to be using. That's all I could salvage from the brackets that they provided. Now here's a piece of 1/4 inch flat plate. Putting that on the bottom. This is going to serve a couple purposes. One of them is a stiffener for one, and then a spacer and a riser for another that's going to be going on the plate to get everything lined up right where it needs to be. All right, so there's one of the arms, and then this bracket is this is the beginning of it. It is going to get welded onto this, and I'm just getting everything lined up. Again, this is pretty critical. I want it to be nice and square. Ultimately, this is the shaft is going to be running through here, and you want the arms to be perpendicular to the shaft, and I want everything to be nice and square to the table ring when it was all functioning. All right, and then this is the mounting plate, one step at a time right here. We previously installed some 6x6 beams in the rafter area in the garage where this is going to go, and that's what these plates are going to be mounted to, and that's what's going to be holding up this platform. So that big plate you see on the bottom, it's got the holes drilled in it, and that's what we're going to use to mount the arms on both sides. I wanted everything nice and flat. I didn't want anything to start to warp when I was welding, so I got everything clamped down as much as I can. And that's the beauty about having these fixture clamps. I got so many of them, and sometimes things just don't line up right where you want to, despite all the holes there are in the table. But I've got these adjustable fixture clamps, and you just slide them right where you need to and keep everything clamped into place. A lot of welding right here, both inside, outside, all around, both sides. Keep everything nice and together so it's not going to come apart. I'm just, there's a lot of weight to this thing, and I just, I'm trying to do everything I can to not have any issues. All right, so got that out of the way. Then one thing I wanted to add right here was this little eye loop here at the end of both sides on both arms. This, again, I was just worried about a lot of weight, so I'll be able to, put a cable from this loop up into the rafters to kind of support that weight out on the end of those arms. All right, so this is the shaft that I had to modify and extend. So basically, it was a square tube originally, and it was only about 6 feet long. So this thing is now 12 feet long, and I just added this 1.25 0.95 wall thickness square tube for the shaft itself. Just welded it in at the right dimension on both sides. That round cylinder you see right there is actually where the cables are going to wind up on, and then underneath that, or on the end right there, you can see the existing square 1x1 square tube that was there, and then I'm just filling that in. I wanted to get some good penetration in there, but at the same time, that drum or that round part of the tube is real thin, so I just was stitch welding my way around this, just getting good penetration on the square tube part, and trying not to burn through the thin stuff right there. So I was just taking my time there. All right, there it is. All the bracketry and the modifications are done, and you can see the big plate right there. That's where the motor is going to be attached to. The motor is what's going to drive and run this table up and down. And there was quite a bit of modifications to get it where it needed to be. That I was able to get that part of it done. All right, so here's the little remote that it's going to take. I made a little holder for it. You turn it on, and then there's the motor itself, and then the cables and the shaft, and then the table is being raised up on the outside. You can see the cables on the outside of the ring, and then the legs fold down, the table comes down, and then you just simply pull the pull these little tabs out that are holding the ring to the table. There's 4 of them. They're not tabs, they're pins, and they are attached by a little cable right there that kind of holds them in place. Pretty unique, pretty neat little design right there. All right, so once the ring is separated from the table, just remotely wind that back up into the rafters to get it out of the way. While you do what you do, Eventually this table, I would imagine, is going to have a lot of train tracks on it and a lot of scenery and buildings and stuff like that. But for now, this is the way it is. And you can see that the ring comes back down when it's time to retract it back up into the ceiling. And you simply just put those pins back in place. You know, this whole process doesn't take very long. I sped this up right here just for the sake of the video, but it's just a matter of putting the pins back in the hole right there and then remotely lifting it back up to a comfortable height. And then you just fold the legs and they snap into place with the holder that I provided. And then it is retracted back up into the rafters, and you can see that there is a light. It's on a relay, and as soon as it reaches its full height, the light comes on underneath, and everything is just the way you want it to be. Pull the cars in there, and it's ready to be used whenever you need to be using it. I hope you guys enjoyed this this 3-part video. It was fun to make. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.